What's up, everybody? Your boy Ken Moore back in the house. It's been a long time since I've been in the house, almost a full calendar year, but it's good to be back. College football is virtually over. Division races in the NFL are heating up. The Tennessee Titans are falling apart. The fan base is in an uproar. There's a lot going on, a lot to discuss. So we're going to do that right now. Thank you for joining Titans the day after the season premiere in week 16 of the NFL season. And of course, like always, we want to take care of those housekeeping duties. If you're new to the show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, share out the video to all the Titans fans, all NFL fans, Texans, Jags, Colts, whomever. Go ahead and share that video out. And then also you want to hit that notification bell. We will be having a weekly show for the remainder of the season. Next week, we'll do it again. Same bat time, same bat channel after Christmas. And hopefully a Titans win over the Houston Texans. If you would like to donate to the show, there's the information below. If you have a Venmo account, my information is right there if you want to donate to the show. Also, if you want to follow me, same handle as I am here on YouTube, at KMore Sports on Twitter, at Ken Moore Sports on Instagram, and just plain Ken Moore on Facebook. We have a couple of exciting segments coming up today. Of course, returning for the third season, the good, the bad, the concerning. We'll touch on all three aspects of going on with the Titans. And then, of course, I will have a special guest coming up in about 15 minutes to talk about the Texans and the Titans. So let's dive right into it. And thank you guys for joining in. Titans the day after. And there's the donation Venmo account if you guys choose to do so. Wow. 7-3 record a month ago. Titans have lost 4 in a row for the first time under head coach Mike Vrabel. A lot of people want Vrabel to fire Todd Downing. There are some people who want Amy Strunk Adams to fire Mike Vrabel. Of course, John Robinson was fired a couple of weeks ago. And my take on the entire situation as far as the Titans go, Mike Vrabel is probably, in my opinion, 1A as far as the best coach in franchise history. Yeah, Bum Phillips with the Oilers back in the 80s, and you got Jeff Fisher for what he did in the late 90s, taking the Titans to the Super Bowl. I would likely put Mike Vrabel right in that category. 2 consecutive AFC division titles, a trip to the AFC championship game, and still has a team that's currently in first place, albeit by the slimmest of margins. But what Mike Vrabel has done over the past 4 seasons, when you consider what the Titans went through the previous decade and a half with guys like Mike Munchak and Ken Wisenhood, and Mike Mularkey had, one good season. Need to seriously think about calling for the coach's head at this point. He's done a magnificent job with a MASH unit especially on the defensive side of the ball. John Robinson left this team completely devoid of talent on the offensive side of the ball. And I think it is a knee-jerk reaction. It would be insane, in my opinion, to fire Mike Vrabel after this season. Let's assume the Titans don't make the playoffs. To fire him after one bad season, that's not how you keep stability in an organization. There are going to be some rough patches that your team goes through. And as a fan base, we need to show support for a guy that just went 12-5 and had the number 1 seed and was the NFL Coach of the Year just a season ago. Now, does he have some flaws? Absolutely, he has some flaws. Are his press conferences annoying? Absolutely, his press conferences are annoying. But you know what? Does it really matter what you say in a press conference? He's not going to give you any information. He's not going to throw his players under the bus. He's not going to throw his offensive coordinator under the bus. He's not going to throw anyone under the bus. Now, does he accept responsibility like some of us want him to? Maybe not, but that's okay. That's okay. So, in my opinion, Vrabel's done the best he can do with what he has. And let's just see how this final 3 weeks play out, and hopefully he can get it together. Now, for those of you who say, yeah, he should be fired, then what's your solution? Who do you want as a head coach? And don't say Sean Payton. The Titans will probably be last on Sean Payton's list of head coaching jobs should Mike Vrabel get fired. Sean Payton is going to look for a team that's ready to win, a team that likely already has a quarterback or is in a draft position to get a quarterback. So more than likely, you're going to be looking at a coordinator from another team. In my opinion, what you do, you got to play it out, unfortunately, with Todd Downing as the OC. He's not going to fire Todd Downing with a month to go in the season because there's no one else on the staff that's any better than Todd Downing. Second in command is probably Tim Kelly from the Texans, and he didn't come over with the best of resumes himself. He's supposed to be the passing game coordinator. Well, we see what our passing game looks like. So with that being said, let's get to a couple of your comments, and then we will continue with the show. Claiming Super Bowl, thank you for joining the show. It's good to be back, man. It's been a long time. I had a busy football season with college football, but that's all wrapped up. Good to be back. Pig Whittle in the house. I'm going to need us to go ahead and win against the Texans. Yeah, I think we're all going to need to go ahead and win against the Texans. Next thing I want to talk about real quick as we look back at that Charger game is Todd Downing. Now, a lot of the blame does go on Todd Downing, but some of that blame also goes on the offensive line, obviously, and Ryan Tannehill, who valiantly came back into the ball game after suffering an ankle injury. And I was at the game in LA. And by the way, a fantastic stadium. SoFi Stadium is unbelievable. Man, I didn't go to the Rams game last year, but this is the last time that the Titans will play in that stadium, probably for another at least 3 or 4 years with the way the schedule breaks out. So I had to get out to LA this past weekend. And even though they lost the game, it was an unbelievable experience. All right, let's talk about Todd Downing in this ball game. And I do think maybe he should be stripped of his play calling duties at this point because the guy continues to put the team in bad situations. Case in point, obviously we saw the 3rd and 2 in the third quarter. You don't run Derrick Henry. You have Tannehill drop back to pass, and he throws the ball sailing out of bounds, trying to hit Robert Woods, who's covered like a blanket, as he always is. Later in that third quarter, and we got a slide we're going to show you here shortly, Derrick Henry, 2 minutes to go in the in the fourth, early in the fourth, huge run, gets us down in field goal range against a Charger team that is terrible against the run. Derrick Henry's averaging 5 yards a carry. Reminded me of the Cincinnati playoff game last year. Remember when Deontay Foreman broke off that big run, got us down into the red zone? Everybody screaming at their TV, give it to Foreman again. What does Tyler Downey do? Calls a screen pass, Tannehill throws the interception. Same scenario on Sunday. Derrick Henry, 14-yard run, gets it down inside the red zone, 7-7 game. You're in field goal range. Instead of pounding Derrick Henry again, what does he do? Drop Tannehill back to pass. Aaron Brewer whiffs on the block. He gets sacked. 10-yard loss. Come back. Give it to Derrick Henry. 9-yard run. Right back in field goal range. And then what does he do on third down? Drop back to pass again. Daly gives up a sack. And now you're out of field goal range because you don't have a kicker who you can trust for more than 46 yards. That's another problem for another day. I'm not going to even touch on Randy Bullock. He's terrible. But having Randy Bullock on your team makes your offense have to get so deep into the other team's territory for you to even have a chance at points. Most teams, they can get to the 35, they can kick a 52-yard field goal, no problem. Titans, they better get it to at least the 27-yard line to set up maybe a 45-yard field goal to hope that your kicker can make a kick. So those are some of the things that I wanted to touch on. We want to go to the good, the bad, the concerning. 3 hot topics that I want to touch on this game, and then we're going to get to our guests to break down the Titans and the Texans in just a moment. The good for me, Titans defense. Titans defense was outstanding on Sunday. A lot of people were mad, because Herbert went down the field on the last drive. They set up the field goal. Mike Williams makes a tremendous catch on the sideline. Look, man, when you play Justin Herbert and he's got his full arsenal of Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen, and you hold them to 17 points, you get 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, you hold them to 74 yards on the ground, you should win that game when 3/4 of your defense isn't even playing. You're playing with 3rd and 4th string linebackers and guys in the secondary. You should win that game if you hold the Los Angeles Chargers to 17 points on their home field. No questions about it. No questions about it. If you're complaining about the Titans defense after that game yesterday, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, because that was an outstanding defensive effort on yesterday. Jake Titans said defense did all they could do. Great effort. We're going to talk about Tim Kelly with my man Richard Walker here in just a moment. So that was the good from yesterday. The bad, the play calling. You go into a game against the Chargers. You know you have a terrible offensive line. You're decimated at wide receiver. You don't have any skill position players that can make a play outside of your tight end, Chig, and Derrick Henry. You have nobody else on the field that can make a play. And you go into this game and you call 29 pass plays, and you only call 24 rushes. This should have been a game like the Titans played against New England in the playoffs in 2019 and against the Ravens in the playoffs in 2019, where Derrick Henry runs the ball 30 times, and when he's tired, you put in Haskins to run another 5 or 6 times. To eat up clock, keep Herbert off the field, and put your offensive line in the best position to succeed. But the Titans didn't do that. They didn't go in with their game plan. They came, we're going to be 50-50. We're going to throw it as much as we pass it. Well, guess what? If you're not good at passing the ball, shouldn't it be like 70-30? 75-25 run split, that's what it should be. That's what it should be. So that's the bad. The concerning, playoffs. Hanging by a thread. And with that, I'm going to bring in my guy, Richard Walker. What's up, Rich? How's it going?
What is going on, my man Ken? How we doing tonight?
Man, we're doing good. We've been talking about hooking up for a while. First time able to bring it on, and I'm just happy to have you. First of all, thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule here tonight. Richard Walker with BTP Sports. Rich, tell the audience a little bit about you, about yourself. You have an extensive resume, writer, voter for the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, extensive career. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now, and how folks can find you on social media.
Okay, well, first of all, on social media, on all platforms, is at The Great Morpheus, DA Great Morpheus, on any social media platform. Easy way to find me. Where do I begin? First of all, you might notice on my shirt, NFL Alumni Association. I am a member of the Alumni Association, specifically the Wellness Challenge. So there is a wellness challenge that we have going on. We're targeting obesity. So it's a concerted effort by the NFL Alumni Association to address the issue of obesity in our society. I myself have lost almost 86 pounds on the program since February. I'm one of the head coaches on the program, so I'm now coaching others to success, not just former players, but anybody. And we're partnering with the American Diabetes Association and others to spread the word about obesity. So that's my primary role. In addition to that, of course, as Ken mentioned, I work with BTP Sports, which is my podcast brand. We broadcast our radio show out of KCAA, which is in Loma Linda, California, which is an NBC affiliate. We're also available on any podcast platform, Spotify, Google, Amazon, you name it. Just search for BTP Sports, and you'll find our content there.
All right, awesome, man. And of course, Richard played 8 seasons as a left tackle in the Indoor Arena League. Also, minor league football, 3 All-Pro selections. Member of the Football Writers Association of America, basketball, National Black Journalism. The list goes on and on, man. So thank you again for taking some time out tonight. Let's talk a little bit about the Texans. Titans got a huge game coming up, and it always seems at the end of the year, the Titans have to play Houston, either with a chance to win a division, a chance just to make the playoffs. There's always a lot riding on this game at the end of the year. And the Texans, over the last 2 weeks, probably playing the second best football in the division behind Jacksonville. They took Dallas down to the wire, took Kansas City down to overtime. What have you seen from this Texan team the last 2 weeks that has changed their production so dramatically?
What I've seen is their ability to focus on stopping the run. If you recall earlier in the season when they matched up against the Titans, Derrick Henry basically wrote his own check in regards to his ability to run at will on the Texans. And they have really shored up their front seven, their ability to stop the run, and also to create pressure on the passer. So they cause a lot of problems with the Cowboys as well as the Chiefs. Prescott threw a couple of interceptions as he was under duress. I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed with them specifically. Lovie Smith, in all respect to him, I think he's an outstanding coach, but I think he's really got his defensive front seven focus. He just doesn't have any of the other pieces on offense to complement that. So that's why they can't close out games. That's why they can't finish off games, because they have these teams down, and you can only keep a defense on the field for so long before they're going to give up points or they're going to give up field position. And that simply was the case the past couple of weeks, where the offense just couldn't finish those two teams off. But they had the Cowboys and the Chiefs on the road, which
Yeah, no doubt. And I rewatched the Kansas City game this afternoon, and they got a lot of pressure on Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
They were bringing exotic blitzes. They were bringing safety blitzes off the slot. And that's one thing that the Titans have had problems with. Obviously, their offensive line woes are well documented, particularly on the left side with Dennis Daly giving up the most sacks in the NFL this week. And then you have Tannehill, who's hobbled, who may or may not play. So the first question, would the Titans be better off having a mobile quarterback, although very inexperienced, in Malik Willis, who played against the Texans, obviously, a couple of months ago when they came to NRG, or if Tannehill is, say, 60, 70% and he can't move in the pocket, putting him back there based on his experience? Which direction would you lean?
I think the Titans' best chance to win obviously lie with Ryan Tannehill and his experience. Malik, in all respect to him, I think he's an incredible talent. You know, he's a guy that has a lot of raw talent, but he's very much raw. And to put that young man in a situation where, you know, he's going to have to lead the team in a very crucial game against a team that's, you know, emerging from a defensive perspective. And let's not forget also, even though that they're no longer in a situation where, you know, they can compete for a playoff spot, you got guys competing for jobs.
Yeah.
And so they're going to want to put the best film out there. They know that there's most likely going to be a regime change here in Houston. So you always get that unspoken element of that extra effort, because it's like the sprinter sprinting towards the finish line. Even though you're not finishing the race, you want to look good when you cross the finish line, because you never know what's going to happen after this season is over. So that's why you're seeing that additional effort for some of these guys that, you know, you don't quite know their name, but you see the effort on film. That's an unspoken element. And to put a young man in that situation without a lot of experience against a very, very detailed coach like Coach Smith and his ability to call up these exotic blitzes, I think you're asking for some trouble there. You can only hand the ball to Derrick Henry so many times and expect for him to be the hero so many times. You got to have at least something for them to keep them honest. You know, have some type of play action that you can keep them honest when. You know, Malik just hasn't quite grown into that. You know, I think they understood that when they drafted him in the third round. He's a project that you can, you know, tamper with and try to build something off of. But I don't think he's quite ready to lead a team, especially in a situation like that.
Yeah, he came in for one series in Los Angeles, and he looked pretty good. He looked a lot better than he had in his previous game. I think he completed 3 or 4 passes. He had one nice scramble to pick up a first down. Now, the Titans will be playing at home this week. And they say it's supposed to be like 10 degrees Saturday afternoon in Nashville. Do you think that would play a difference with the cold and Tannehill's ankle? Would he be able to get it loose enough in those type of conditions? It's one thing coming back to play in LA. He probably got it shot up, wrapped a little bit tight. But going out in below freezing temperatures, how difficult is that for an athlete playing with a high ankle sprain?
It is extremely difficult. And I hear people all the time, you know, use the cliche, oh man, this is football weather. Oh, you never played football in that kind of weather if you use that cliche, because football players hate cold weather. It hurts every aching bone and joint and muscle and sprain that you've ever had. It's like it recreates some of those moments for you. For a quarterback, I think is definitely important, especially with, you know, Tannehill. He's a guy that likes to move around quite a bit. So his mobility will be limited, but also in that, I think the conditions are going to be a little bit windy. So I expect for it to get a heavy dose of running. I would expect to see, you know, him. I think he'll find a way to get through it. You know, this isn't his first rodeo, and I think, you know, his veteran experience is gonna, you know, definitely help. They got to get the ball out of his hands quickly, because as we alluded to, you know, the Texans right now they're doing a very good job of getting to the quarterback, and they're getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback and causing problems. So I expect the play caller to resemble something sort of a very heavy dose of short passes to go with definitely a very heavy dose of Derrick Henry.
So it's going to be a rock fight, you know, on Sunday afternoon. Let's take a look at the Texans offense. Looks like they've really gotten a shot in the arm with the rotating quarterback system now, with Jeff Driscoll giving them an element of a quarterback who can move, who can run the football, different looks, different element for a team to focus on during the week. Now you have to spend extra practice time that you didn't have to do in week one, to try to figure out, okay, what situations are they using Driscoll in? What are they doing? Is he running the ball 70% of the time? Is it 50-50? When you self-scout or when you scout a team that changed it up so drastically from the first time you played them to the second time you played them, how difficult is that going to be for the Titans defense?
It's going to be quite difficult because you base your film study on tendencies, and when you don't have the film, you don't know what their tendencies are. Because, like as you mentioned, they basically changed their identity. When you put Jeff Driscoll out there, you put him in a situation where he's able to make plays with his legs, extend drives. It creates a different element. You don't expect that, and you don't see that from Davis Mills. And definitely adds an additional layer of homework, so to speak, for the defense. So I expect to definitely see that continue to see him sprinkle some of that in there. But at the end of the day, it's whether or not Davis Mills plays well will be what determines if the Texans can compete with the Titans.
When you look at, and it's mind-boggling to many of us who follow this team, the Titans, that the amount of injuries that they've had in back-to-back seasons is just unheard of. I mean, the number of players that they have to cycle through every single week. And even in your level of playing professional football, arena league, college, whatnot, have you ever been on a team that's gone through something like this, where you have to say, hey, is our strength and conditioning coach doing the best? Are we missing something in practice and preparation and in summer camp? Like, have you ever seen anything like this?
I've never seen quite this many injuries. I think that there's definitely something that they need to evaluate in regards to their process and how they treat injuries, how they train. Are they pushing guys too hard? Something's definitely there, and then also just are they overutilizing certain players in certain situations? So that's definitely, I think, should be in the back of their minds as they look to make personnel adjustments in the offseason. Of course, you got to factor in the salary cap. So unfortunately, I think that the Titans are not in a really good cap situation. You're going to see quite a few casualties. One that comes to mind is Taylor Lewan. I think you see in the end of his run with the Titans. So, but yeah, I think there's definitely something there in regard to all of the injuries and why it's happening. I think there needs to be some troubleshooting as to why that is, because a lot of these are non-contact injuries, that are taking place. So it does kind of lend an ear to what they're doing in training.
Rodney had a question for us. Of course, we all know about Tim Kelly. His resume here with the Texans was not the best. Everybody in Nashville is ready for Todd Downing to go. With what you saw from the Texans the previous few years and what you see with them now, do you think that Tim Kelly is a viable option to call plays for the remainder of this season or even going forward at any point?
I think the answer to that is definitely no. If you watched any of the Texans in the Tim Kelly era, it was clear that this guy he's all over the place with the way that he calls games. I don't see that, especially with the personnel that the Titans have. I don't see that being a logical fit. I think you're going to have to go outside and bring someone in if you do move on from Donahue. But this isn't the time to tinker with that. I think kind of think about where the Colts were when Frank Reich was relieved of duty. I was totally confused by that because they were like, I believe, 3 games behind you guys, and we still had 8 or 9 games to play. And I think there was still an opportunity. This is right before the Titans started trending down, and the Colts were playing bad football. They just had a bunch of disciplinary, mental error type stuff that needed to be cleaned up. He's had that team competitive. I mean, they missed the playoffs right at the end of the season last year with they lost to the Jaguars the last game of the season last year. So they were trending in the right direction. He still has some housekeeping that needed to be done. I thought they pulled the plug on him too early. kind of, as you mentioned earlier, for all the fans that are calling for Mike Vrabel's head, you might want to be careful what you wish for, because you see what happens when you make a knee-jerk reaction. I think the Colts are a perfect example of that. They were a competitive team. They were a division competitor, and the Jaguars blew right by them, and they are sinking faster than basically any other team in the league right now.
Yeah. For those of you just joining us, we're hanging out with Richard Walker of BTP Sports, B Bravo T Tango P Peter Sports. And he's joining us this evening, to talk about this Texans-Titans game coming up this weekend. I guess the bottom line that people want to know is, with the amount of injuries that the Titans have, with Tannehill's status in limbo, with as well as the Texans have played the last 2 weeks, how do you see this game going? Do you think the Titans can muster enough to pull this game out, or do they lose their 5th in a row, and then they got Dallas coming up the following week on another short week on Thursday night? So they only have 6 days of rest this week. Then they'll only have 5 days of rest before they play the Cowboys Thursday week. Right. Thursday week, yes.
Right. It is definitely going to be a very tough uphill battle. I think they need a little magic to happen. I think they need some X factor type thing to really push them, propel them forward. I think they need to come out and be aggressive very early with the Texans. You have to put pressure on Davis Mills. You have to get some turnovers on defense. I think special teams is going to be a factor, especially given the elements. If they can flip the field and get some position, and as much as possible, not have to rely solely on Derrick Henry to be the hero and savior of the team, that's going to be a huge factor. Continue to dial up those blitzes, get that pressure, not create turnovers on the offensive side of the ball, not expect Ryan Tannehill to go out and throw for 400 yards either, because that's not going to happen. So I think they have to have a very balanced approach to that. And like I said, also get some contributions from special teams, which you alluded to. Big question mark there with Randy Bullock. I was wondering why they brought him back this season, because he's always been a huge question mark.
Always a huge question mark. I mean, he's a guy that will make them in the first, second, and third quarters. He will make them in the first, second, and third quarters. If you put him on the field in the fourth quarter, it's a coin toss. It's a coin toss, because the pressure, it just seems to get to that kid. And of course, you know, I'm wearing my UT sweatshirt, and you know, I had to feel bad seeing Cameron Dicker, the Texas Longhorn, break my heart after I flew 2,000 miles to California to see this game. But you know, that was a guy that was a free agent. You know,
was a free agent.
Could have picked
undrafted guy, right?
You know, undrafted free agent. You know, we did a good job getting Stonehouse, the punter. He's done an excellent job. He'll probably be a Pro Bowler. But, you know, their love and affection for Randy Bullock and all these ex-Texans that they continue to bring into the program. Some of them work out, like Deontay Foreman, and then you let him go. And then, you know, a lot of times these guys don't work out. So, you know, now, do you have any left tackle left in you? Because we need a left tackle, bro. We need a left tackle. You played 8 seasons at left tackle in the indoor league. You cannot be worse than Dennis Daly, bro.
I think that ship has sailed a little bit ago, my friend. I'm sorry. I wish I could help you, but I can't help you there. But I mean, you know, he's been an absolute disaster at left tackle. And I question why they did not make any moves to free agency. You had Dwayne Brown, who was available in free agency. You had Eric Fisher, who's available in free agency that comes to mind. Jason Peters, although he's 4 years old, he's done an outstanding job for the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. So you have some opportunity to get someone in there to at least create some depth, and they definitely could use that now, because they are having some major problems at the left tackle position, and this is causing a lot of issues, you know, with regards to just that pressure that's being created, and that's where you're seeing a lot of the turnovers come from.
What do you do as an offensive coordinator, offensive line coach? I played running back in college, so I know sometimes the running back, you know, you have to help chip on the linebackers. You don't want a running back trying to block, you know, Joey Bosa, a defensive end, but you can chip on the linebacker. We've seen the tight ends try to chip and then release but Daly, he just doesn't have a quick turn to get back for those wide rushes. What, if anything, can they scheme up to give better protection on that left side? Do you leave a tight end in? Do you leave a back in? What do you do in that situation?
Well, the first thing you do is you try to look different on the field than you do on film, because all of the greats, all of the guys who are great at pass rushers, because they're also great in the film room. They study the tendencies of these offensive coordinators, and they learn. It's to the point where they can learn cadences, they can learn snap counts, they can learn so much about your offense, and they're able to make very educated guesses. That's why you see a lot of these guys disrupt plays, because they study so well. Um, Also, schematically speaking, you run away from the threat, of course, and sometimes you do unorthodox things. You slide protections. You leave the guy uncovered and run away from him. So you create a double team on the weak side, and just leave him unchecked, because by the time he gets back there to make a play, the back's already out of the field. So, not to go into too many details, but there are a number of things that you can do, to help slow down a guy like that. I think of, for example, like Micah Parsons. I saw what the Texans did against him, because they did a fairly decent job with him, and he's a pass rushing nightmare. But they ran a lot of things away from his side of the field, and I think that helped to slow him down and frustrate him. He had some combo blocks, of course, the chipping and all that. You throw a hodgepodge of that in there, and it helps to slow a guy down like that. As long as you don't get disruption on the other end of the line, it definitely helps to cool the waters down, so to speak.
Right. I want to throw up a couple of still photos from the game. I don't have the video, but just we're gonna look at pre-snap and then kind of post-snap what Tannehill did or didn't see on this particular play. Now, this is 7-7 game. It's 3rd and 2, 3:24. The game is still in the balance at this point. Titans got a good opportunity here. Okay, so he's got 2 guys in the backfield. Okay, and then you got the double edge rushers. You got the 3 guys in the middle. One may drop out. One of these edge rushers is going to come in. Hold on one sec. All right. So this just needs to be a quick pass outside, pick up 2 yards, keep the chains moving.
Right.
Okay. And then you see the wide angle here. So it's basically man-to-man defense, it looks like at this point. But Tannehill's got to make a quick read here. Okay. Right. So now when we go to the next slide, hold on one sec. This is what happens. This is what happens. Daly is getting destroyed over here.
That was the first thing I saw.
He's getting destroyed over here. Tannehill does one read, though. Double coverage.
Look at yeah.
It's double coverage here. He never turns to the right, and you got 2 wide open receivers. Hold on a sec. You got Haskins coming out of the backfield. Doesn't he have enough time there? Hey, this is covered. Let me turn to my left and dump it off to this guy who has got all this green great. There's no Chargers over here, and you got another blocker in front. How does a quarterback?
It questions. Also, to me, it questions. You should know as a quarterback what's your height read, especially in such a situation like this. You're not going to have a lot of time, of course, because of the amount of men that they had on the line. You know that they're coming. So I'm looking to read 1, read 2, then hide, if not take off. But for him he sat back there too long, and that you see this pocket just caved in. You see the combo block there on I can't this 90. This guy right here. You see a combo block right there.
Right here.
Yeah. To me, you have an opportunity to escape if you want to, continue to look downfield, keep your head downfield. It's only 2 yards. Just pick up the first down. Your mission when you break that huddle is to pick up that first down. So I'm looking to my hot. I'm looking to 1 or 2 reads, and then I'm taking off. And he easily could have. I think he could have scrambled for that first down, or as you mentioned, he could have dumped it to this open receiver right there. So
right here, wide open.
You got
So that was,
options, man.
so that's a play that people will kill Todd Downing for. But Todd Downing actually designed the perfect play there to pick up 2 yards in the first down.
Right.
And now, of course, Tannehill, his ankle was hurt. I understand. He was probably gun shy in the pocket. I understand. But if you're a veteran quarterback in that situation, 3rd and 2, you're at midfield, you pick up the first down, you get a new set of downs. You cannot make those type of mistakes.
Right.
Burrows and the Herberts and the Mahomes, even the Kyler Murrays and the Jalen Hurts, they're not making those mistakes in these type of critical situations. And we've seen Tannehill do that time and time again.
Right.
Yeah. So
and
that
also
was just,
schematically speaking, if your left tackle's getting beat consistently, you got to get him some help. Put a tight end over there. You had the back over there. Looks like I don't know if the back chipped on this play.
No, he did. He did. Both of the backs. Yeah, both of the backs had a free release.
Okay, so he had a free release. But I mean, you can give the guy some help if he's getting beat and you don't have another option. Put something over there and just say, look, okay, we're gonna give up one guy to make sure that he don't get beat here, because you got the combo block on the other side of the line. So if anything, and that's also on the quarterback too. When you see that alignment, you got to slide that protection. You got to tell those linemen to slide. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's not solely on the left tackle. He's
he's
not doing a good job, but he also needs some help.
He also needs some help. Yeah, absolutely. He also needs some help. So I just wanted to break down that play, man. I saw that. I was like, wait a minute, what in the world? And I remember because I was sitting in the end zone seats behind the offense, and I just saw him just look, and he threw it like 10 yards out of bounds behind Cheek and never looked to the left side. I'm just like, oh my goodness.
And he never thought about just breaking down and scrambling, get to 2 yards and slide.
Yeah.
Never see another day. You got a fresh set of downs to start over.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. One more thing before we go. I want to take a look at this AFC playoff picture. And 1 second to get this pulled up here. Just kind of see how you think things are going to shake out as we get close to playoff time. Buffalo right now, the number 1 seed. Right now, if the season ended today, you got Kansas City playing Miami, going up against Cheetah. That would be tasty. That would be a tasty matchup, man. That would be a tasty matchup. You'd have Burrow against Justin Herbert, and then the Titans, against the Ravens, who are struggling also with Lamar Jackson. In my opinion, if the Titans get in, the Ravens are a tailor-made opponent for them because they're a team that doesn't throw the ball very well. They're a run-based offense, and the Titans have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. I don't think you want to see any parts of Miami or Cincinnati for sure.
No.
The Chargers you may be able to handle at home because the Chargers are going to charge you sometime and do stupid stuff. What are your thoughts on these matchups, and what do you think the best case scenario for the Titans are?
I think without question it's the Ravens because, as you mentioned, they're very reliant on the run, which plays into the Titans' hands. They're not a team that's going to come back if they're down multiple scores. That's the most favorable matchup in my opinion. Dolphins are very explosive offense. You saw the game earlier this year with the Ravens. That was just incredible. That's just an example of what they're capable of. And of course, the Bengals, in my opinion, they're still very underrated and underappreciated. Joe Burrow he's that dude, man. What he brings to the table and how he has that team playing, they're going to be very dangerous again this year in the playoffs. So definitely, I would definitely try to avoid them, if at all possible.
Yeah, personally, I think Cincinnati, front to back, side to side, up to down, I think they have the best 53-man roster in the AFC.
And they got off to a slow start, so their record doesn't indicate, how well that this team has played.
Yeah, people forget that Joe Burrow missed all of preseason because he had an appendectomy.
Right.
So his first action was that first game against Pittsburgh,
game.
and I think he threw like 4 interceptions, and people said,
And
oh,
still
Super Bowl
he had
hangover.
the Steelers on the ropes. His kicker missed the field goal. They should have won that game.
Yeah.
They missed the field goal in regulation and overtime, if I recall.
Yep. They had a lot of missed kicks in that ball game.
Yeah.
So, Cincinnati, and they've had our number. They beat the Chiefs, I think, 3 times in a row. They beat the Titans 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So they by far, to me, look like the best team, excuse me, in the AFC right now. Well, Rich, man, I appreciate you jumping on tonight. Again, let the folks know where they can find you, find your content. I really appreciate it. A lot of stuff breaking down, and hopefully we can do it again, my man.
Thanks for having me. So again, on all social media platforms, it's at DA Great Morpheus, at The Great Morpheus, The Great Morpheus. Also, you can visit the NFL Alumni Wellness Channel. So you go to NFLalumniWellness.org. You'll see our website on there. You'll see if you want to sign up for the challenge, there's an opportunity for you to click on the button, sign up for the challenge. You'll have to select me. There's other coaches on there. Select a coach. We'll be happy to help you, achieve your fitness goals. The only thing that we ask, when people always ask, what's the price? The price is your commitment. So if you're committed to improving your overall wellness, then we'll be happy to coach you.
Yeah, and the New Year's coming up. A lot of people do, New Year's resolutions and whatnot. And, of course, your health. And I have to say, my man, I'm very proud of you because you've been posting. You've inspired me at times when I didn't want to go to the gym. I'm like, Rich out here put his weight loss. So let me make sure I get my butt up here and, go ride my bike or something. But no, man, you are an inspiration. I really appreciate it.
And it's all about, just making simple changes. You don't have to starve yourself. Yeah. You don't have to deprive yourself. You can still have fun. You can still enjoy the game. We come up with the acronym NERD, N-E-R-D, which stands for nutrition, exercise, rest, and de-stress. You do those 4 things, you will be, headed towards having a healthier overall lifestyle.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. Well, hey, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you and yours. You guys be safe. And we'll do it again at the turn of the year.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Rich. All right. That was Richard Walker of BTP Sports, and we thank him for joining the show tonight. I appreciate you guys popping in tonight. Man, we unpacked a lot. Hope you guys were able to get the information in case you want to get more fit going into 2023. And hopefully the Titans can get more fit before the end of 2022 so that we'll have some playoffs to talk about at the turn of the year. My opinion on this ball game is that what I am hoping is that the Texans have played their best football. They played outstanding against 2 high caliber teams in Dallas and Kansas City. I don't know if they can do that for 3 weeks in a row. They're also going to be playing outside in frigid conditions for the first time this season. Their last 2 games was at AT&T Stadium, the Dome in Dallas, and of course at home here at NRG last week. So they will be in freezing outside conditions at Nissan Stadium. And the key for the Titans in this ball game, they have to get off to a good start. They have to get off to a good start. You cannot allow the Texans to score first, gain some momentum, because the Titans don't have an offense like Dallas or Kansas City where they can come from behind from 2 scores down and win a football game. We're not built that way anymore. The Titans have too many penalties on their opening possessions. You can't have penalties on the kickoff that put you inside the 15-yard line, or penalties on your first play from scrimmage that put you back inside the 10-yard line. Field position is going to be paramount in this game. Ball security is going to be paramount in this game. Derrick Henry needs to quit fumbling the dang on football. That's 3 games in a row that Henry has put the ball on the turf. He fumbled again Sunday against the Chargers. Luckily, I believe Ben Jones recovered. Of course, Trayvon Burks recovered the fumble a few weeks ago, and he had the big fumble last week against Jacksonville. So Derrick is going to have to take care of the football. Tannehill can't make silly mistakes, throw silly passes. He's going to have to go through his progressions. If he is not able to play, they have to decide design some packages for Malik Willis to be successful. I thought he threw the ball very well, very decisively in the one series that he did play. I thought the intentional grounding was garbage when they called the offsetting penalties because he had a free play there. That was just a misread with him, I believe, in Westbrook Akina. But if Willis needs to take all the first team reps this week, if we need to run the ball 40 times in this game, it doesn't have to be Derrick Henry running 40 times. You have 3 running backs on your roster. You have Haskins and Chestnut, I believe, is the third string guy. So we'll have to see what happens there. What's the word on Fulton and Burks? We won't know probably until the end of the week. Burks is still in concussion protocol. I would not expect to see Fulton this week. The earliest I would expect to see him with a groin and a hamstring injury, because those things are very hard to get loose in very cold conditions. So it would be very difficult for Christian Fulton to get out there in sub-freezing temperatures with a tight hamstring and groin. So I would not expect to see Fulton this week. I think Vrabel said Burks is a possibility. So we'll kind of watch the injury report as the week goes on. Clowney Super Bowl, how do I feel about a quarterback situation? Just talked about it. I say if Malik is ready to go, roll with Malik. Roll with Malik. Let's just see what happens. William Young, Texas draft on that Washington in the first round. I have no idea, completely honest. I haven't looked at any college football draft boards, anything of that nature. We have no idea where the Titans may be picking. They won't be in the top 10 because I think even if they lose out and go 7-10, I don't think they'll have enough losses to be in the top 10. They'd probably be somewhere around 14, 15, somewhere in that dead zone. So, for people saying, hey, we just lose out and get a top 10 pick, well, we already have too many wins to get a top 10 pick. So forget that scenario. They need to try to win out and do whatever they can to right the ship. Rodney was in earlier. Who do you feel is the best available offensive coordinator? My thought, one, you're probably going to have to go get, if assuming Vrabel's back, and Downing and Tim Kelly are both gone, you're going to have to go get a quarterback coach, right, from another team, because an offensive coordinator isn't going to make a lateral move from one team to another team unless they're getting a significant pay raise and get a title like assistant head coach or something. So you wouldn't see an offensive coordinator come from another team to us. Now, maybe a guy like Eric Bieniemy, if something like that were to happen, it would be like a guy like an Eric Bieniemy, who for the longest has not got a head coaching opportunity despite his success as the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, because he, quote unquote, doesn't call plays. Well, you could bring him to Tennessee, give him complete control of the offense. Eric Bieniemy, here's a broken offense, fix it. It's yours. Do whatever you want to do with it. And if he has success for that, that would make him an immediate head coaching candidate if he could fix this mess in Tennessee. So that may be a guy that would be interested in making a lateral move, but I can't really see any other coordinators making a lateral move of that nature. So, all right. Well, we've gone for a full hour tonight, guys. Hey, thank you guys for joining the show. Again, first time since last year that we've had a full show. I really appreciate it. We will be doing shows likely every Tuesday night around this time, unless something crazy happens. Tuesdays are pretty good for me. Hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, share the video out. Let everybody know K Moore Sports is back, and we definitely want to hope the Titans can pull this victory out next week against the Houston Texans. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. You guys have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. You guys stay safe. And we're going to get ready to get up out of here. And you guys need to tighten up on your backstroke. I'm out. Peace.
I'm not so bad. I just like to do what the bad folks do. Yeah. Because loving, there ain't nothing like living on you. Easy.